did you ever have angst about a certain age, turning 30, turning 40, or it has all been easy?
Sometimes turning some certain age, we naturally have this anxiety like, oh my God, I'm turning 30. Oh my God, my 30s are over. I'm actually turning to 40 because of what, we've been programmed. Like, okay, when you're at this certain age, you have to have achieved a certain things and all of that. So naturally, I feel like some of us have this anxiety. So this question was asked to this old lady. Do you have any angst turning to a certain age? And let's go ahead and listen to our reply. Then we'll come back and talk about it.
So did you ever have angst about a certain age, turning 30, turning 40, or it has all been easy?
No, there was angst. I'd say 35 is a crucial point. That's when I got divorced, left my job at the university, moved back to New York, and it's like, and who am I and what am I going to do? I'm going to make art, but how am I going to make a living? I'm going to be alone. Where am I going to live? Okay, I have a sister in New York, so at least, and I have a lot of New York friends. But 35, and lately I've been talking to women who are 35, 36, and it does seem to be a turning point. I also lost my mother at 36, so that was a major turning point because she was my best friend.
Yes. 30 was a tough one for me too. Yeah, it's a turning point.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
And then you're seeing 40 and you're supposed to make it by 40. Life begins at 40. So, you're measuring it all, but life continues. It's just a journey.
And I think that's what young women has to realize. It continues. 50, 60, 70, reinvention.
And we're in a river, and you have to let the river carry you. You cannot force the river. It's about flow. Water is the most powerful element, so allow it to let you flow.
Hello beautiful people, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. It's your girl Maria Davis, and I'm back again with another interesting video. So do you have any angst and then turning to any age? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. I have just two stitches to share with you all, so let us go ahead and watch the stitches together. At the end of the stitches, I'll be back with my own opinion.
So did you ever have angst about a certain age, turning 30, turning 40?
Go back and watch her video. She's talking about, the woman that we see in the video is talking about how 35 is a pivotal age change for her. And the woman who's speaking or taking the video says it's 30. And I immediately I was like, I relate to this because I'm about to turn 40 and I am thinking about it every single day. I finally just booked my birthday trip, really excited. But when I turned 30, I did wear black. I did mourn my 20s. But I remember I wrote a Facebook post, yes, I'm dating myself, about turning 30 and how I was ready to just live. Because in my 20s, I had pursued 3 degrees. I got married. I had 2 kids. I bought a house. I started my career. So much was happening that I was ready to just live. And in my 30s, I really did. I mean, we went through some hardships, but I was able to do another career change and find what I really enjoy doing. I was able to travel, take my kids places, spend time, find comfort in my skin. I've gained weight, but I'm more comfortable than I was when I was in my 20s, and really turn into myself, find myself and turn into myself. And I think some of this turning 40 is also because I am a millennial, and I'm pretty sure the Golden Girls kind of joke that how they would look today in comparison to when they did. 40 seemed so old to us. And I'm seeing it's not that old, right? It is kind of, but it's not, right? And so as I go into my 40s, I think the reason why I am just kind of so oh my gosh, this is crazy is because a couple of things. Number one, if I'm swimming in my mom's gene pool, I'm 2/3 of the way done. They died in their 50s and 60s, and that's terrifying. But if I'm swimming in my dad's, I'm until my 80s. So let's hope I'm swimming in the latter pool. But the second part of that is that when I looked into my 30s and I'm I just get to live, as I'm still living in my 40s, a lot of change is happening. And it's going to be similar to my 20s because my kids are going to be adults. So I could turn into, like, my husband and I could potentially be empty nesters. And if we're not, that's okay, because the economy is crazy and they can stay here as long as they're working and figuring their adulthood out. But our season of busy is no longer going to be, I read it every day, and I've been told it by so many parents, is that this season, it just ends, right? Like, you're busy taking your kids to and from and driving them here and there and going to this sporting event and this school event and this event, and they graduate and that's over, right? And I sound like I was going to cry. It was a hiccup, but that's coming up. And I'm going to have time. I'm not too nervous about my husband and I having time. We're pretty good at that. But I think it's me, right? Like, will I be able to take that and channel that into my next level of promotion, getting that C-suite position? Or can I maybe work on this passion project that I've never really devoted time to, that's a dream of mine that I've had since I was a little girl? What is the 40s going to mean in that sense? So I'm not afraid of getting old. I actually own it. I think it's fun getting older and wiser. And you see young girls, and I always just give them a little extra prayer, a little extra hug from the universe, and thinking, oh, mama, it's going to work out. It's going to work out, right? And you are loved. You are beautiful. Please see it. And so as I turn 40, I just, coming into that next decade, into that next space of womanhood, I think is why it's going to be really pivotal for me.
So did you ever have angst about a certain age, turning 30, turning 40?
No, but really, can we talk about it? So if you haven't watched the original video all the way through, go watch it, come back. But for those who don't know, my name's Colleen, aka CQ. I just turned 30 this year, okay, in July. And every single person that I spoke with told me that your 30s are so much better than your 20s. And it's really crazy because when you're in your 20s, you're like, I'm getting old, and you think you have to have your whole life figured out. And I'm sure a lot of you that follow me are in your 20s, right? So you really think you have to have it all together. You have to have the perfect life. You know what I'm saying? And the reality is, your perfect life, or your version of your perfect life, it changes. It will change as you get older. As you hit your mid-20s, and then as you hit your late 20s, things just start to shift. I had a huge shift. I think it was around 26, 27, where I had like an epiphany. I basically was like, I don't care what anyone thinks anymore. Like, I just want to live my life. I just want to be me. And if you don't like it, that's okay. And there's like this realization you go through, plus you lose a lot of quote unquote friends in your mid-20s, because a lot of the time you're hanging on to people from the past, and then the new you doesn't really relate to those people anymore. Or like, if you have friends that really don't want the best for you, you'll start to really detect that when you're in your mid-20s. So your mid-20s are like, they're rough because you're having all these realizations so much, and then on top of that, you think you have to have it all figured out. Babe, you just became an adult, like literally, and you don't have to have it all figured out. Every woman I meet that is in their 30s or in their 40s or in their 50s, they're so much happier. And my reason why I think that is because they know who they are. They're content with who they are, and they're happy with who they are, and they know the people around them. It might be a smaller circle than before, but it's people that are genuine and love them for them. And as you age, you don't have to have it all figured out, babe. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, I'm a failure, I'm looking at social media, I don't have it all figured out, why don't I have it figured out? Everyone else has it figured out. You guys, no one has it figured out. Social media is 5% of people's lives or less. People are showing you what they want you to see. Okay? And you have time. You have time. You don't have to have it all together. So I hope this message helps somebody. I want to talk more about aging and stepping into your full self and all of that. And I felt like this video was a super great time to touch on it. So, love you.
The way I fear age 30, I used to fear age 30 when I was in my 20s because of a lot of things that has been programmed in my head. You know, when you're 30, you're supposed to have your life figured out. When you're 30, you should have had all your children. When you're 30, you should be married by then. If you're not married before 30, no one's going to marry you. You know, I feel like in my 20s, I was afraid of 30. Afraid of the age 30 because I'm like, oh my God, I have to have everything figured out. I must be okay financially. You know, when it comes to relationship, I must be good. I must have all my children. If I want to have like 1, 2, 3, I must have them all in my 20s because in my 30s, it's going to be difficult. My friends, you know, the fear that was put in me, I'm talking about it personally, when I was in my 20s, because they make you look like in your 30s, you should have it all figured out. How true is that? Because if you're in your 30s, in your 40s, if you're in your 40s, you've passed the 30. I feel like you're in the right place to talk to we that we are in our 30s, okay? And if you're already in your 30s, probably you've passed the age 35, you should be able to say something to us as well. I feel like now, newly in my 30s, I feel like this is when I now know what I want. I know who I am. Like, I'm happier. I'm living my life. I'm enjoying myself for me, not for anybody. Like, I really don't even care about any age limit on anything because I'm like, okay, like, what should I do about it? I don't fear any age right now. I feel like 30s is like the beginning of when women, for me, I feel like 30s is the beginning of when we know that, yes, you started living your life. When we're in our 20s, we're not living our life for us. We're living it for other people. You know, you have to have everything all figured out. Oh my God, I remember as at last 2 years, one of my friends wanted to get married, and she was like, I'm almost turning 30. I have to get married ASAP. I have to do this. I have to do that so I can have all my children before I'm 30. I'm like, why are you rushing? She said she's almost 30. So that was how we've been programmed. Like, you have to do all this in 30s. Even in the hospital, they'll tell you, oh my God, you have to have all your kids before 30. It's now they shifted it to 35, I think. Before it was like 30. You won't get your body back if you have your kids before 30 or after 30. You won't get your body back. You will lose your shape and all of that. For me, I feel like in 30s, because I've had friends that, in short, almost 40 in their 30s. Some are even almost in their 50 years. I'm close to people like that. And in your 30s, that is when you know who you are. That is when you're happier, just like the last stage. That is when you are like living your life for you. And you don't have to do things to please people anymore. You're just living your life the way you want because you already know what you want. You already know who you are. So it's now left to people around you to adjust yourself to suit you. You don't have to be like, oh my God, I have to do this to please this person. Because I feel like you've passed that age to be like, oh my God, this person, I have to be this way for me to suit them. No, you're going to be yourself confidently, and whoever wants to stay with you will stay. That is my own side of it. And generally, I love listening to older people talk about, you know, when you ask them all this question. I personally like listening to them. And this is another video of us not talking about men. We are not talking about men in this video. We are talking about ourselves. And a lot of people are entering into new age in 2024. So what do you have to say about this video? I'd really love to hear from you. I know there are different ages that watch my video. In short, people above 65 years old watch my video. Shout out. I see you all, and I'll really love to hear your own points of view about this particular question. What age were you like afraid to that changed your life, and what age were you scared to jump in that there was nothing even more of it? And according to the old lady in the first video that explained herself, she was like, every year has its own, like you keep learning, you keep living. There is no like this is the end of you living. You keep living, as in it keeps flowing like a river. So there is no like, okay, when I'm in my 40s, I should have everything all figured out. When I'm in my 40s, if I don't have this, I must have this. Don't be hard on yourself. Just flow. Move with the flow. Don't be hard on yourself. I feel like that's just the lesson here. Don't be hard on yourself. Just move with the flow. You never can tell. Maybe is your next year was going to be the best year of your life, or maybe your next year is going to change everything for you. You never can tell. Anyways, thank you all so much for sticking around to this point. I hope you enjoy a kind of video that we didn't talk about men. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and thank you so much, and I'll see you all in my next video. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, and turn on the post notification bell so you can get notified when I upload interesting video like this one, and I'll see you all in my next one.